Take two. How would you know that? You wouldn't. Welcome back. It is the in-studio show. It is the Dark Knight. Man, I'm ready to get going. Why did we take so long to start filming this?
I wish I knew.
Yeah, me too. So there's going to be a lot to talk about with this one. It's the Dark Knight. It's one of the most revered comic book movies of all time. Why are we doing this? I
wish I knew.
We're doing this because we have a full-on rewatch of the Batman live-action movies, a lot of them anyway, to get us prepared for the Batman. Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves, it's coming. That's right around the corner. We did it for Spider-Man. We did it for Matrix. Now we're doing it for this one. And we wanted to get the crew back in studio together, and that is what we did here today. So it's the Dark Knight. It's the second movie in the Nolan film, and we have a lot to talk about. It's myself. It is Winston, a Marshall, and Coy Jandreau. And before you do anything else, show a little class, will you? Subscribe. Do it. Hit the notification button, all the stuff that makes things happen. You know how to do it. You just hit that subscribe button, comment, all of it. All right, let's get into it. It's The Dark Knight. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is. It's the rewatch. Oh, yeah. There he is. Oh, yeah. There he is.
Excited.
Oh, yeah. There we are. Look at that. We're all in studio. It's here.
We're gonna do this bit again since we
missed
got
it the
cut.
first time, but,
But I actually think it worked out better because even though there's still close-ups, when we did it the first time, it was
true.
and I think that it looks better now, even with the little black bars in between, and I think everything else. It looks better. But the studio is going to change sooner than later, actually. But we wanted to get it, and Coy was harassing us and saying, "When are we going to get back in? When are we going to get back in?" He was right.
Heath Ledger's Joker does not deserve a Zoom treatment. All right, that performance of a lifetime does not deserve us sitting in our houses on our phones.
You're not wrong.
You're right, and on top of the fact that there's always that baby bit of delay on digital, so like it really is us interrupting each other, and like Christian saying something, and then you're like, okay, go ahead, listen.
Right.
Like versus I can watch your face.
No, I know, especially when you do it when I was trying to set up the joke for.
I wish I knew.
And every time we tried to do it, you guys didn't know it was coming. There were a few times that I was like, I'm like, Coy, and you would talk over it, not knowing, and then you can't hear it on Zoom because if you're talking, the audience doesn't hear it either. But now,
I wish I knew.
I
wish I knew I didn't know.
Why didn't we take a little bit more time with that?
A turducken.
I wish I knew.
And
why did Christian have to have a second child?
And
apologies.
Totally different franchise. Apologies. Yeah.
Do me a favor, please.
What's that?
Get out of here.
Oh.
Get out of here, man. Shit.
No, this is the danger of being in person.
This is the danger.
Now he's got a full toolkit we don't have.
But we're not doing that.
We didn't have it before.
The toolkit is this movie, gentlemen. It's got everything.
What a toolkit.
It's got everything. It's got everything. For people who are saying that this movie is just a Joker movie, shut up. Because it's not. It's got so much more. Batman's a full-on detective in this one.
There's more Batman screen time in this one than either of the Burton films. Tim Burton used him as the background, whereas I think they use Joker here. He's in it only 38 minutes. He's not background, but he's such a force that every time he's on screen, that's all you remember.
Right.
Like you think about him for minutes after. So I think people think he's in it more than he is.
Yeah.
But Joker's the catalyst for Two-Face is arguably the big undercurrent. Like Two-Face is our lessons learned. Joker is the dog chasing cars, and Batman is the movie. To me.
No, I 1,000%. I still think that Batman is at the center of it, but for all the people that are constantly like, I didn't get enough Gotham. This to me
was about Gotham.
It was about Gotham, and specifically, it may not be about the little people of Gotham, but this is, you get some of that on the boat.
Right.
But this is specifically about the key players of Gotham. You're talking about the mayor, the commissioner, the Joker, Batman, the DA, the assistant DA.
And the third movie's about the little people. Like the first movie's about fear and the origin. The second movie's and Batman. The second movie's about what choice is to each character.
Yep.
And the third, which you were talking about in our first take, which I want to get into because that was incredible. I like your perspective. Thanks, and the third one is about what is Gotham, which means you're going from the ground up.
Right.
So you need this second movie, which is this beautiful linchpin. And I also love that it's a movie about Two-Face.
Yeah.
And it's a movie about his philosophy. And it's a movie about philosophy. And Joker gets to be this agent of chaos that causes all of these people to look at their lives differently. And I was saying that I think every time you rewatch this movie, you get a different different experience because you're a different person.
Right.
This time, I experienced it very much in Aaron Eckhart's perspective. I really get what Harvey Dent's gone through because the more we live in this world, the more I understand the lack of faith in man. And all all Harvey wants is to be the white knight that believes in people. And he just keeps having himself proven wrong. The movie's about Harvey Dent losing his faith in mankind.
But he's been proven right for a lot of it, though. But he's been proven a lot of it. Like when he's up until the point that his face gets, when he gets captured by Ramirez, he's in a spot that they just won. They just won the battle. So he's when he gets captured, he's in a good spot.
And the end of the movie is Gotham proving that humanity's worth saving. That's
right.
that's the moral of the story.
Right.
But it ends with Harvey Dent not going so well, and that's where I feel it. I identify.
Well, to be honest with you, the funny thing about watching Harvey Dent is he doesn't have his hubris in check. And I think that's the biggest thing. There's a level of arrogance that's there with Harvey, and you see it, including with the fact that the name Two-Face did not come because of the scarring.
Right.
The name Two-Face was something people were calling him beforehand because he thinks he's untouchable.
Right.
That, I punch dudes that pull guns on me in court. I'm a badass. I kidnap people that just attempted to kill the mayor and kill the commissioner, and I'm going to torture you because I'm a badass. But you have to understand
He's pretty badass.
He is badass.
I'm not saying he's not, but remember, that's the same.
But he's carrying it around and showing people. But I think that's also one of the things I really liked about this movie is the fact that you could look at because Bruce Wayne is trying to just give the mantle up, and he's like, I finally found somebody. I mean, this guy's good.
The whole movie he's just trying to give it away. He's like, I'm not the Batman.
I want to do it.
Rachel.
I want to be Rachel.
Rachel.
And I do love that idea. I mean, I think that it once again, when you watch it, I've seen this movie so many times, but every time you watch it, you just appreciate how well written it is.
Yeah, it's so quotable.
Because but besides just great quotes on, it's like everything about it, and the story beats and the structure beats, and the fact that Rachel and him have that kiss, and you're like, and you carry it over. You have to separate the fact that you remember the Katie Holmes part of it, the way that, and that's what I said in our last one, is that even though I don't think Katie Holmes was the strongest actor in the last one, I still would have liked to seen her carry on the role, because it's a me thing. Like I don't like to. That's the person I got attached to in that role,
right?
And now and it's nothing against Gyllenhaal, because I happen to think she's a way better actress, and I think that if she would have been in the first movie, then
the first movie would have even been stronger.
Yes, 100%.
The DA stuff I buy way more with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
But I think Maggie Gyllenhaal is great. My point is, though, through all that, with knowing the relationship with Rachel and Bruce, that they share that kiss, and then the whole reason that he's upset, and Alfred gives him the card after Rachel dies, and she says, I'm gonna, and it shows her character. This is what I loved about it, because when they give that kiss, you're like, oh man, she's just gonna leave Dent out on the road. She's just gonna pull a Mary Jane Watson.
I was gonna say, you know what this is the opposite of? Spider-Man.
100%, because she's like, I've thought about it, and I know what I told you, but I love this guy, and you don't want to let Batman go, and she knew, and it just made the character stronger.
I love that each and every character has their own arc that's justified, unlike the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. And I'm only bringing that up because that's what we just watched. But when I rewatched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films as an adult, I struggled more with character choices. When I rewatch this every time as I get older, I like the character choices more.
The simple fact that, with the exception of Joker, because him being this agent of chaos, so his decisions are already kind of premeditated a little bit. The only one I could think of maybe is when they don't blow up the boats. He seems at a loss, because for him, his plan has been going off without a hitch the entire time.
You didn't think everyone was as terrible as you.
Right, exactly. He literally looks lost when that happens, right? But otherwise, even the simplest little thing with Alfred, where he's watching Bruce, and he's trying to be a support, and he's watching the Rachel thing go down. He's giving his sage advice, as Alfred does, but then he has to make the decision of, like, I need to be real with you. And about giving the note from Rachel, but then seeing how he was just like, she was going to do it, man. She was just poor heart.
Why take that away from him? Why take that away from him? Right,
because he knows so well that if he does it, it will completely break Bruce, and go send him to another dark place he doesn't want to necessarily send him to, that he's already in.
This might be the best Alfred because of the Burma stuff. They talk about MI6 Alfred. He's still paternal. He's still all those things.
Is that a thing in the comics too?
Oh yeah, he's a badass. There's flashback comics where he's the lead.
That's why they gave the Pennyworth show.
Yeah, actually, Epics. There's a show on Epic that's actually great. It's on HBO Max now.
Right.
It's literally.
No, I've seen. I haven't seen the show, but I've seen like the.
It's James Bond Jr. It's dope.
Is it good?
It's a really good.
Yeah,
show.
I didn't know enough about it. I just knew that worked out really well, and besides Alfred, Lucius Fox has a lot more to do in this.
So fun.
and even I love the thing where he's like, I can't, this machine being around, like I I didn't sign up for this.
And
so
Bruce knows.
He knows.
I love that.
Yeah,
dude. But that's the other beautiful
Choice.
thing about it. Choice. Once again, it was like you either choose to trust me or don't. But but like once this is over, if you choose to trust me, put in your name and see what happens.
Yeah.
The fact that even the dude that tries to blackmail, it's like choice. What you won't do? Do you really want to try and screw over a multi-billionaire?
I love that line.
The guy that beats up people. That's who you're trying to blackmail.
He's like, that's your plan, and then the guy still does it, and Bruce winds up saving him again, and he's just
And
like,
that little
That
look.
look,
Oh.
that
That look is why I think he's a better Bruce Wayne than people give him credit for.
I agree.
That look right there,
I
those
agree.
2 seconds. Also, while we're on Mr. Reese, can we acknowledge there's 4 Batman villains in this movie and they managed to make it work? Mr. Reese was the proto Riddler. You've got Scarecrow in the opening.
Mr. Reese?
He's a proto Riddler, really?
Yeah, the guy that was going to reveal it. His name's Mr. Reese. Mr. Reese. Mr. Reese.
Oh, I didn't catch that at all.
oh, is that's the Riddler?
Instead of Nolan using Riddler, he had that guy as like the Riddler kind of character.
Oh, okay.
It makes sense only as far as like Riddler being super smart. There's a lot of different iterations where he works for all sorts of corporations, but he
Right.
does work for Wayne at some
and
point.
he's inside Wayne, and his name's Mr. Reese.
And that was the thing. He wasn't even working at Wayne. He
was
was
investigating
working
their books.
Exactly. He was a separate consultant. So
Now I got a trivia question for you guys. True or false? Was there anybody from any one of the first 4 movies in this movie?
The guy that Joker says reminds him of his father.
The guy that says, was he?
Yeah, he's a producer. He's been in all of them. The guy that says you remind me of my father. I hate my father. The guy at the party.
Is there another guy?
I challenge the question.
An actual actor besides the producer, because you could have made that up. I don't know if that's true.
I got nothing.
Well, you're gonna have to say true now, obviously, because I changed it. Nicky Cat from Dazed and Confused, who he's in this movie. He's in the car with Gordon. With Gordon Thriller, and he's basically navigating, saying like, "We go there, we're gonna be sitting ducks," and he's the whole time
guy's
he's
great
talking.
'cause he's Exposition City, but he makes it work.
He's in Batman and Robin for like a split second, and during the racing scene with Corey Haim, who we never brought up too. By the way, you knew Corey Haim's in that scene also.
I did not know.
I didn't know that either until recently.
Well, I was gonna say, so that was the beauty of it. Remember, we talked about in Begins how you had the cops saying the things going through our mind. So I love that they did it again. And they call it's essentially like a call, like having seen Begins a week prior.
Right.
I connected the dots because
The
I
cops
didn't
like,
know.
we're in the car. We're gonna tell you what's going on.
He's
Here we go.
just like, oh God, that's dangerous. We're gonna go down here. We're gonna be sitting ducks.
Yeah, when they
is
had
that a bazooka?
100.
Like-
Yeah, that guy, and I wonder how they convinced him to come back.
I wish I knew.
Oh, that's true.
Now, can we give? Now we've talked about the themes. We've talked about we've touched on the philosophy,
Yes.
and everyone that's in the YouTube comments is going to say like, "Chloe reads too deep into movies." But this one, you cannot deny that there are so many beautiful existential questions about the meaning of humanity, about what it means to be a person that lives in a city, what it means to be responsible, what it means to be a hero. The end of this movie is about being chased for your beliefs, and that's the greater good. That's what he has to do. There's a lot of that.
I was just going to add on to what you're saying. People saying you read too much into movies. Clearly, you can't say that about this Nolan trilogy because if you've ever seen a Nolan film, that is actually he is always doing the one thing you're told to do is to answer the question.
Yeah, he wants you to think as a viewer.
It's also interesting, like reading those comments on any movie, whether it's I don't even know what a Surface movie would be, but like Armageddon. Art is meant to be interpreted, so anyone that gets mad that you say a certain hue of blue instead of blue. Yeah, you can watch a movie and call it blue, or you could say it's periwinkle blue and look into it. So like, watch art however you want, but if you want to actually interpret art and experience art, look into it and how it makes you feel. And this movie does a great job of being an action film that you can go, ooh, shiny, big boom, or you can look at how you perceive which character you identify with, and that might change over time.
And even from the start of it, and I think that, remember that at the time when this movie comes out, it was similar to when Keaton was announced as Batman. Everyone's like, Keaton as Batman. Same thing with Heath Ledger as a Joker. Now everybody puts him as the GOAT. And some people...
That first shot came out, man. Like as soon as that first shot came out, people got real quiet.
That first shot, and when it comes out, and he does, and that scene is very, very much so an homage to Michael Mann's Heat.
Yes.
And from everything about it, and even watching it today, I watched it on a bigger screen, but I remember seeing that opening in IMAX, and that's when like the whole movies now whole movies are in IMAX.
Yeah.
But at the time
it was groundbreaking.
it was segments.
Like the first 12 minutes, right?
They were like, well, not just
That's
the 12
all
minutes.
Heath got to see. Was
that first 12 minutes?
Yeah, because he screened it and then he passed 2 weeks later.
Wow, but they had those 12 minutes but there's also another scene inside of the movie when he goes to Hong Kong.
Oh, there's a
that's
few,
also
like
IMAX.
all the exterior city shots, because I watched it on my Blu-ray that has the it expands out to the TV, and it's like so.
I remember seeing that and just being blown away. But like that opening scene and everything, when William Friedkin comes in, and like I guess Friedkin actually
banker.
Yeah,
love the shotgun banker. Like Friedkin just being like clearly a mafia banker.
guy. Yeah.
It establishes Gotham so well.
Everything about it.
I take back something I said in Batman Returns.
What's that?
I think Nolan's Gotham's great. I said that I think that the Schumacher Gotham has more of a character. There's a character here. It's just subtle.
It's subtle.
Like,
it's
real.
It's real like everything else, from like the Joker and the way the Joker, the
it's
nature of
IMAX,
chaos,
and that
all of
makes
it.
the
But what he does though too is that because I like how clever this movie is, and this movie throughout it, whether it's the maniacal shit that the Joker's doing with the little games that he plays, whether it's the stuff with Harvey and Rachel, whether it's the thing with the boat, all these different things, and he starts off right off the bat telling you like he puts these people on a job and then he tests them because he knows he doesn't give a shit about the money. He knows that they do, so he basically tests them and says, I'll give you a bigger share if you kill this guy, because he doesn't want anyone else standing, and he knows humans so well,
right?
And the corruption of what makes us soul, at least he thinks, and ultimately that's thwarted at the end. Shout out to Thwarted. But either way, like you set it up going, oh, that's what this guy's going to be about. All right, let's do it.
I think that honestly, what Joker is able to represent is what a lot of people think freedom is. And I think it's really interesting that the people that are attached to the Joker character are people that think that's the way to solve problems. And I think that's the danger of the character is, you've got all these like Joker bros that have become really problematic. And there's an entire subculture of people that think that's the answer, but it's the immaturity of believing that chaos can solve problems. Inherently, this movie shows that chaos isn't the answer. It's a problem that solves some things, but it's not the solution.
All it does, honestly, all chaos has a tendency to do is that if you were not listening to the question, it makes you pay attention to it.
It shows you the problem,
but it does not solve it at all. You're right. If anything, it makes more questions and more problems.
And that's what freaks me out about this. Like, I love the Joker. He's my favorite villain. Like, Joker as a character, and Heath Ledger's Joker, like, this is everything to me. This guy right here, but it's kind of like the Tyler Durden thing. If you think Tyler Durden is the hero of Fight Club, you're watching the wrong movie. Like, you're interpreting it wrong. Yep. If you watch Joker, Joaquin's or Heath's and go, that's the guy, you misinterpret what a protagonist is. And what I'm really worried about in society is the more we regress into isolation, whether it's because of the pandemic or because of social media or because of the metaverse, more we're going to be in the echo chamber of only talking to people like each other, and more Joker type archetypes are going to form in real life.
You're going to end up with what ends up happening at the end of Joker, where all of a sudden now everybody wants to idolize what you're saying, but they become their mini Jokers.
Exactly.
And that's not good.
That's not the solution. We need more Harvey Dents because he's flawed, because he needs to grow, because he needs to see this. And we need more people like Christian Bale's Batman specifically to go, I can't be the savior at all times. I need to pass this mantle. No one can shoulder that forever. And even Gary Oldman, like, he gets, promoted to commissioner, and there's so many things about honor and knighthood and passing the torch, because you could argue the Dark Knight in this film is Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, Joker, or Batman.
So much. And then like even when because it's heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. It's heartbreaking what happens to Dent, because you like him so much and everything, and and Bale likes him, so we like him, right? And because this is a guy who's dating his ex-girlfriend, but he realizes he's not going to be petty about it. Right. He's like, even because she even says, I know I know you well enough when you're teasing, you don't know him well enough, motherfucker, because he actually does care, and he does care, and and it's heartbreaking when his face lands on, he's trying to save her, and then his face catches on fire, and then that lady walks out and she says,
He needs some milk.
Right. And it was a really bizarre. That was the off credit scene. But
deleted scenes. We watched the Nolan cut.
They cut that out.
People didn't know that's where the meme started.
That's where it started from.
Right there, Harvey Dent.
But it was pretty heartbreaking though overall. And then once that, he just snaps because he's got the physical pain, the emotional pain. Joker is with him, and Heath Ledger. I mean, obviously, it's just so to say how brilliant of a performance it was, but like he's just such a freaking maniac in this movie. And by every definition of the word, in what and it has a mission in the same way that and we keep bringing it up like Thanos. He's got his mission that he knows he's evil. He knows he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He knows what, and that's why Alfred says some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. I honestly cannot. I give Joaquin a lot of credit. I obviously give Jack Nicholson credit. We don't talk about Jared Leto, or at least I don't. There is not. I do not know if we'll ever see anybody touch this performance. Not just as the Joker, but maybe as a performance. Like, I'm honestly thinking about all of the things that I've seen, and I know it seems like I'm maybe going to be a little, biased because it's Batman, one of my favorite heroes, all that stuff. But genuinely, if you just look at what he did and all of the little nuances,
mid dialogue sentences,
No,
he'd
I'm
change.
not.
He would change his inflection mid-sentence. He'd surprise himself.
Yes.
It was a ventriloquist of his own mind. He was
Yes.
able to get into a role that he was able to manipulate himself in. And like, whether it's the interrogation scene, whether it's the Aaron Eckhart hospital bed scene, everyone was playing at the top of their game, and Michael Caine forgot his lines. The scene where he busts into the penthouse, that was the first time Michael Caine had met Heath Ledger, and he forgot his lines for the first time in his career.
Dude, not all of that. I even think about the very first time we see him, and he's obviously got the clown mask on.
The physicality even then.
When he falls to the ground, he's trying to skirt up against the thing. Even the physicality of trying to hide behind. I was like, dude,
Nothing like it.
Well, even when he walks into the mob hideout, and he's the pencil trick, and
and it's all so darkly funny. The sense of humor, I think, of this Joker is my favorite sense of humor for Joker, because it's really actually funny, but it's all depraved. Like nothing about it should be funny, but I'm laughing my ass off.
Because he just it's that bringing that charisma that he naturally had as a human being inside of
dude was 28.
That's wild.
He played that at 26, 27.
Wow.
Can you imagine being
Was
that
he really
talented
that young?
Yeah,
he died
was,
at 28, dude.
Wow. But the other thing about it that's so interesting is that you've not just a performance. You have to give Nolan a lot of credit for how he wrote the Joker, because he wrote him to be what Joker really is. He is sadistic as hell, but he is a certified genius.
Yeah, he is.
In the sense that, even think about when you get to the abandoned building where Batman's trying to come in and SWAT's busting in to try and stop this whole thing, right? You have put all of the hostages in clown outfits and duct tape guns to them, and then let the doctors...
Dude, he stuck a phone in a guy's belly.
That stuck a phone in someone's belly. You had to set up the two boats of prisoner. I mean, obviously did not work out, but you got everybody to flee.
But he also
getting kidnapped by Commissioner Gordon. He didn't know it was Gordon.
No.
Getting kidnapped, going to that prison, that whole setup, and then you look at it, you're like, yeah.
But he also, but besides that, he also has like this David Koresh thing going on too, because he gets people to put phones in their belly. He gets people to follow him, because I mean, he even gets Harvey Dent to follow him, right? Because there's something that kind of rings true to it, and he puts you in this position. Like the boat thing is brilliant, because it's like, all right, here you have all these criminals, because on both sides of it, you have to start thinking, right? If you're on that boat, you're like, well, okay, here's all these criminals, and besides the fact of whether or not, like what a lot of these people were saying when they're going, they deserve it, they made their choice. If you don't feel that way, the other side of it is, well, there's got to be somebody who is so maniacal over there, who's in there for a reason, that's probably going to push the button, so maybe we should. And then the flip side of that is the criminals saying they probably don't think very much of us, so they're probably going to take us out. I want to redeem myself in life. Maybe I have a chance to take them out.
2-minute performance by Tiny Lister.
Oh, incredible.
Incredible.
Zeus kills it.
Oh, dude, rest in peace.
Yeah, what a moment.
That's what's sad, is because I think it's only just those two, but to see both Heath and Tiny just gone like that, and that I'm so used to seeing him as Debo. I'm so used to seeing, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that Zeus too. Like it was. When I remember seeing him on there, I was like, yo, Debo just about to murder everybody, but to see a very in-depth, calm,
that's what I'm talking
powerful
about.
performance.
But that's what I'm talking about with the writing. So he goes up and he tells the guy, and because you've seen Tiny Lister in so many different roles where he plays that, this is what I liked about that casting, because you don't know which way he's going to go.
And his performance allowed for that.
Yes, and in what he says, and inside of what he says, he goes, I'm going to do what you should have done 10 minutes ago. And when he says that, you could read it like he's going to blow him up. Mm-hmm. Or you could look at it like,
we should never had the option.
And I love the fact that it showed, we have no backstory from that guy, but what I know about him is that he is a respected leader, because the second he walks over, nobody says shit.
Yeah.
And the second thing is they huddle around him.
Yeah.
They huddle around him, and it's just like, and he throws us like, look, our fate is going to be what our fate is, right? And then even, the douchey, scared businessman who's he's like, I'm taking him out. Those guys made their choice. He can't do it either. Right. So like, okay, so we're just gonna have to figure it out. It is what it is.
After 2 hours of movie where we're going like, what is humanity? Is humanity worth saving? And also for people that want just the action movie, they got the Bat Pod, they got the Batmobile.
Oh, dude, the Bat Pod was
We got
awesome.
our glowing Batman eyes from the animated series that nobody talks about enough. It's like, I want those white eyes. I'm like, we've had that. Like, and also you need that to have a purpose, and also you were going to lose emotion and stuff. So it's used just the right amount, I think.
Bro, it was perfect. You got all the action, and to be honest, probably my favorite scene, and there's a lot of great scenes, and it has to be him again talking about the doctors and there. So it genuinely feels like you're playing like
an Arkham game.
It feels like an Arkham game, like mixed with the animated series, because like the music's coming in and swelling. You're getting like objective stuff from Lucius being like, we got 5 doctors on top pulling guns about to shoot
people out on like a hang line like you would do in a video game. He's just
and that's the other thing, that those moments are also the moment where you go, Batman is very, like, people love to argue that Batman isn't a superhero, he's just a guy. It's like just a guy would not have figured out how to perfectly somehow tie a rope around 5 SWAT guys while not getting shot and throw them out a window.
It was so good. And even all of that, like the way when he goes in there and the fact that he figures it out first, he should have been in a little bit better communication with Gordon and those guys. But even Gordon at that point has a gun on him and he's not going to do anything. But
also, I don't understand how people think that Batman killing works for the character, because this movie is all about why that one rule is important. There's an entire film
whole thing is about
why Batman's one rule is important. So for these people, it's such a weaker choice.
Well, he can't do it.
Is weak.
It is. He can't do it.
He does it one time.
He doesn't want to. What? No. Well, but he doesn't run over. He doesn't run over the Joker when he could have run him over. He doesn't choke him out.
Which is a great parallel to Jack Nicholson's Joker.
That whole thing with the long gun. Yeah, it was. It definitely.
I love that parallel.
And Heath Ledger's performance there too. Like, come on. Go ahead, because
and him accidentally shooting while he's getting up and like laughing about it, like good.
And when he's getting beat up, it's like it's consistent.
Guy gets shot.
Yeah. He's like jumping on his dude. Oh, and the scene where he's convincing that cop to beat the crap out of him. The scene where he's like, do you want to know which one of your friends were cowards?
Because he knows good because his desperation still comes in calmness.
Right.
Because he needs to get to that phone. And he's not going to do it because if he makes it too obvious that he needs to make a phone call, then he's
so good at knowing how to play people. And like, I love the fact that he's talking about like, knives are more fun. And that's also Joker.
He knows how to make people do what that's what I mean. Like that David Koresh thing. He's got like that thing where he's always knowing how to manipulate the human spirit.
And I also love that Batman breaking guns throughout this film is Frank Miller. Like, so Frank Miller redefined Batman. You've had Batman in the 40s that was like murdery and like less the character is today. Then Batman had kind of fallen into like this Adam West thing where he was kind of a joke. He'd had like, bat bombs and stuff and the Robin. And then Frank Miller came along, made the Dark Knight more of the character is today, but he was very, very anti-gun. There's shots of Batman breaking guns saying this is a coward's weapon. And there's a few shots of Christian Bale doing the exact frame from the Frank Miller thing. So if you want a Batman with guns and if you want a Batman that kills, you can watch your other movies, you can read your old comics, but to me that makes the character much stronger because he has integrity and he's not a villain. That's what keeps him being a villain.
And they give you the guys in the beginning when he says, I'm not wearing hockey pads. Right. That whole thing.
Can I give you a realization moment that I had watching this for the first time since it's been out?
Yeah.
I kept thinking he was, because of the stupid voice, I thought he was saying hockey pants. And so I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess he is wearing some big ass pants.
Oh, you never knew he said hockey pads?
I did not hear the word pads. I heard pants.
Yeah.
And so finally, I had the subtitles on for the first time because now I just watch everything with subtitles. So I see it say
Are you not
pads.
a big hockey guy?
I'm not really. And so why am I not a big hockey guy, Christian?
You tell me.
Oh, God damn it.
It was right there. It was right there. We don't get to do it. He's like, there it was.
I set you back up.
That hurts.
Ass. I set you back up.
Dark. Why won't Christian let us play?
I
wish I knew.
I see what it is. I see what it is. It's because you can see his face, huh?
No, we can't see each other at all.
No,
actually.
because I thought you were making a different type of joke. One that I'm not privy to set.
Side note, if you haven't seen it, go watch the SNL sketch with Chance the Rapper where he had to he was supposed to report on the Madison Square Garden for the Knicks, but the Knicks didn't play and he had to report on God, what is the team for New York? I don't know. The Rangers?
Oh, the Rangers or the Islanders?
Yes. Yeah. So he had to report on the Rangers and they were like, "Okay, what's your name? Turn around." And he turns around and it's like, "Yep, I'm not even going to try that." Like it's a black dude trying to navigate hockey. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Thank you. So now you came back to my joke and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
So we are back in studio, ladies and gentlemen. So
Exhibit A.
the one thing that I realized about Bruce Wayne is that he obviously showing up with the ballerina, and during these Bruce Wayne times he's doing what he's got to do. But what we don't, and he goes on the boats with all the models to before. But what he doesn't do, because he's really working out a lot, he's exercised, so he's exhausted. So what he's going to need to do, he's got to get himself some joy mode. I got to tell you what, he's got to get himself some joy mode. That's probably what he's going to do. What's joy mode, ladies and gentlemen? Here it is. This is the new sponsor for us, and I can't wait to talk to everybody about this. And Winston is already asking me for some of this.
So you just go put my business out there, bitch.
100%. So, well, because listen, this is what it has nothing to do with whether or not you're like. Trust me, Winston. We've already talked about probably rhinoceros penis.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of this episode. Actually,
yeah,
came up immediately.
He's not. There's no problem in the bedroom.
Yeah, we're not worried about him.
There's no problem in the bedroom for Winston. The problem is when you go and you're going to work out and you have like a supplement. Well, let me tell you about Joy Mode, because you're standing around, especially when you're at the gas station. You look over and you go, hey, look at this. There's one of those pills. Yeah, those pills are not good for you. I'll tell you that right now. You go there and you say, well, maybe I'll try these out. And I got it tempting, but if you look in those products, they are terrible for you. And the same goes for most of the products that are on the market that claim to help you out. But who wants a 4-hour erection? Who wants that? So Arnold, I got that sword in my pants. I can get it down. I got to kill the elephants. And it's got nasty side effects. You get heart problems, and imagine you have to go to a trip to the hospital. What's wrong? I can't get my penis down. Why? Because I took this pill and it's like 5 hours and I can cut bread with it. Well, Joy Mode is here to save the day. And whether you're happy or unhappy with your performance in the bedroom, perform better. Joy Mode's sexual performance booster, it's like a pre-workout but for sex. You go to great lengths to biohack your way to better mental and physical performance, but what about the bedroom? Joy Mode, it makes natural and science-backed sexual wellness products for men. And their sexual performance booster, it's like a pre-workout, again, but for sex. After taking the sexual performance booster, blood levels of arginine and yohimbine will increase, and it'll direct promote nitric oxide production, penile tissue relaxation, and increased drive. Meanwhile, there is the action of vitamin C. It's going to protect the nitric oxide. There's a lot of medical terms that you don't need to know. You're going to be able to you're going to get excited. Is basically what it is. You're going to get very excited. It's again like working out, but in sex. And Joy Mode was created because the products on the market are terrible. And they knew that they could do better. Prescriptions come with all sorts of side effects, and the over-the-counter gas station pills, they're sketchy and they're fraudulent, to be honest. But lots of guys take both because they don't have an option. And this is the easy part. Winston was asking about this before. Winston, you want to hear about how you use this thing?
Yeah, what's up?
All right, you tear it open. Okay. And you open the sachet and you then mix it with 6 to 8 ounces of water, just like an electrolyte packet. So for best use, you can consume it anywhere for 45 minutes to 4 hours prior to sexual activity. You'll notice better blood flow, better erection quality, that's what we're talking about, and firmness, and increased sexual energy and drive. So if you want to spice things up in the bedroom and boost your sexual performance, go. Do it naturally without any nasty prescription drugs. We have a special offer for you, too. It's the Big Thing audience. Is there a more proper sponsor for this than the Big Thing? Go to usejoymode.com/big thing. Enter Big Thing at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's usejoymode.com/big thing. You get 20% off your first order. Thank you to Joy Mode. Big fans of Joy Mode.
Yeah, right. No. I mean, like you said, it's nothing to worry about, but it's this, like, pre-workout was a perfect example. It just goes from like, cool, I'm out here doing my max, maybe like 5 or 6 reps. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do my max.
You go to the gym, you have an electrolyte packet, and you. Whoa, yeah, it was a good workout. What's the difference? Because you associate it as the medicine gets better and better, but you always associate, I needed a pill because I couldn't get it up. Nah. That's not what this is.
Arginine's a great pump too. I mean, in the gym and that sense.
Yeah, there you go.
Good for you.
And I think you get embarrassed. You look down.
I'm saying Arginine's a good pump. I'm just saying.
Amen.
But all right, back to this. So talking about
back to making Rachel Dawes happy.
Yeah, right. So and that's exactly what. Look, Aaron Eckhart though in this does exactly that, and you can understand why he's smooth, he's slick.
Is each.
One ball? What, he got his balls blown off?
Well, no, two big. He's got the whole half body. Like, I wonder if he's got
I know.
one nut.
The one thing that I thought was fun is kind of silly, but I understand because he just didn't want it. It's the clothes that he had.
He just kept the
disgusting suit.
Yeah,
because he got out the comic book.
I know. I looked
at
it.
It's that 11. It's that like
Christian, you're thinking about this wrong because remember, Joker was like, "Go ahead, blow my brains out. Like, do what you're gonna do," and then he was like, well, I'm gonna blow this place up, man. So you might want to put your clothes on and get out of here. So, like,
Sure. And how about the fact that he also, the Joker, after that, first thing he does is wash his hands.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
I love that.
And
joke.
I'll tell you, like when he did the whole thing, when he washed his hands, I was like, look, right now I relate, brother.
Yeah, dude. That guy's got a gross face. He's got to clean up.
But not just that. It's like the pandemic and everything. Right now.
bro,
Wash
is
your
it
hands.
bad that I watched Joker walk in with the mask on? I was like, man, even the Joker.
Even the Joker, but
That's right. Even he.
yeah. And how about Anthony
This
Michael
guy.
Hall in this too?
So much fun.
Yeah, so I mean, there's just so many great moments in this, and it just and even when they killed Gordon off, I feel like they got me when I saw it. I can't remember.
The first time they got me, when I saw it in theaters, they got me.
I feel like they did. And
The marketing for this was, I mean, if you guys don't remember, this was the first movie to have like Cloverfield, like viral marketing in the comic book space. There was I Believe in Harvey Dent was everywhere.
Right,
There was the Why So Serious marketing campaign. There was Easter eggs. There was all sorts of like the viral stuff that wasn't and it's kind of faded since, but like wasn't popular yet. And this really kicked off things in popularity. But the marketing showed that there might be a big death. And I think we all thought that was Gary Oldman. Like I thought he was never going to be commissioner.
Yeah, it was interesting when they did that because they had. So what was the commissioner's name before?
Loeb.
So Loeb was
It's a nod to Jeff Loeb, which a lot of the imagery in this is based off the Long Halloween. So there's this comic called The Long Halloween, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, a very iconic comic run from the duo that kind of reshaped things after Frank Miller. But what's interesting is, so the money burning imagery, the three of them standing on the roof, as in Two-Face, Gary Oldman, all that storyline, there's a lot of imagery from The Long Halloween, and there's a couple plot points, but The Long Halloween is also a major influence on The Batman. So what I'm wondering is I might have figured out too much about the Batman by reading Long Halloween and getting like I think I might have figured out the mystery and I'm like, no! But the parallels between the two, I feel like one chose imagery, one chose plot.
Sure.
Read The Long Halloween carefully.
I'll just wait.
Read after, because I'm afraid I'm really afraid I solved some stuff I don't want to know.
I can wait 2 weeks.
I don't want to know about it yet.
But Jeff Loeb's a great writer.
Well, how much? So that's a good question though, because this, out of everything that I've seen so far with the Batman trailers and all of it, it seems to sync up the most with this movie, right? The overall tone of it. I mean, when it comes down to the Riddler, the way that the Riddler, I mean, they're going to be different, obviously, but and they've even said that. I can't remember. I think it was Matt Reeves, like his producer. They hold Nolan's movies to the gold standard that they want to surpass. It's a bold statement, but it's still it's a great goal to have. I mean, especially when you watch this movie, because I think that this movie is flawless. I mean,
it's one of my rare 5-star films.
It really is. Like just watching, like it just. I was excited to rewatch it again, and like there's not a, like sometimes even with great movies, like a great movie will pop up and a scene will pop up and you'll go, all right, I think I'll wait for this scene to be over. I don't have one of those in this. Like every single scene is worth something to the next. And how about David Dalsmalshin who shows up and is so creepy in this as well.
His debut, man. He was living in Chicago and signed up for like an open casting.
Is that really what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
So David's a buddy now, which is insane.
Yeah.
And like I'm a huge Dark Knight fan, so I interviewed David and I was just like, I don't even remember what we were promoting. I was like talking about Batman, and we were talking and he was saying that basically he was in Chicago living as an actor, hadn't had a big breakthrough yet, went to an open casting, and the role grew from like, oh, you can show up and be creepy guy to like, oh, you're really talented, and gave him that whole thing.
He's really
so
good.
that all organically happened, and that
You're talking about the dude that ended up shooting
the guy that they blamed for Joker, the guy that was in the
he's an Ant-Man. He was in the Suicide Squad.
No, I know you're talking about.
So
Just making sure.
The guy that shoots next to Joker in the capture.
Because we had him on Claire Live, and I probably asked him about Dark Knight, but I was just, there was at this time, I think Suicide Squad was coming out, and we were trying to talk.
He's
about
literally one of the nerdiest people that does nerd stuff that actually is a sweetheart. Like there's he's one of the nicest guys. He also got a comic book out. His comic book, Count Crowley, is incredible.
I'm a big fan of David. I think he's he's been very open about his past and his things in general, like how it's a very inspirational story too when you listen to David. So watching him in that scene, and he's very memorable. I mean, it's very memorable for a smaller scene like that. He just, and it's because he's one of the, and it's such a crucial scene because it's the first time that we really see Harvey Dent as Two-Face even before he's burnt. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's about to flip the coin.
We see the potential of what he can become.
Batman tells him, he's like, dude, if anybody saw this, like this is bad.
And I love the recurring joke of like, make my own luck. That scene especially where he's like, Batman doesn't know the coin is double-sided, but I love the dialogue.
The idea of it, right? But it's just the fact that it's there, and what Batman said is like, dude, you're lucky they haven't really invented Twitter yet. You'd be in trouble.
Well, that's oh God!
That's what he said. Direct quote.
That's it.
No, but I love even those nods to the books and specifically to Batman the Animated Series, where you have 2 or 3 scenes where like all of a sudden Batman just shows up on the scenes and starts talking. And even is like, hey, let me get in there before you let your people ruin the crime scene. Are you kidding me?
And that's straight Long Halloween. And that's why like I really think that they read the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale stuff and were like, this is the tone we want to capture. Yeah. And that's what's interesting about Matt Reeves as well, is there's different types of Batman story, but the one you want to tell, I think in our day, is that slightly elevated. You want to tell a story that like could almost happen. Yep. And I think that's why some people didn't like Dark Knight Rises, is it got to the point of like, well, like when Batman just shows up in Gotham, like there's certain elements we couldn't escape as much.
It becomes more of a Batman movie, like a little more of a cartoon. But I really like the third one. At least I remember really liking the third one.
That's what I'm excited to rewatch, because now that we've been in, like I've never watched 3 back to back, so I'm really excited. I
haven't either. Like. Yeah, this is also a first for me that I've never just full on watched. But I think I still stand by my statement. And part of it is it's not to say like a lot of people. I should say what I said on Twitter. I said that I think that the Dark Knight trilogy is the greatest trilogy ever.
Wow.
At least in my opinion. Obviously, people are going to have their own sayings one way or the other. People immediately counter with Lord of the Rings, and I give you that. Rings.
Have you never seen Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and New Hope?
And pretty solid.
And I give you that. I give you that too. But I think part
of
Smurfs.
What the?
I wish I knew.
You completely took me off guard, bro. Holy shit.
Yeah. Did you never see? Why wouldn't you include Smurfs?
I wish I knew.
Yeah.
But he needs some milk.
I do.
He's got a thing for Smurfette. We just discovered a Smurfette fetish.
I was trying to help you, mother.
I don't have that.
Yeah, you got rid of that one. Yeah, but
apologies. Apologies.
No Smurfs. Apologies.
But just in the sense that Empire is incredible.
Yes.
I personally think this movie is better than Empire.
How dare you? That's fair. You said
personally.
You did
personally.
Personally.
I also think that to that point, there is something to be said whenever you're talking about a movie. Obviously, it's not just about the movie as a whole, but the acting is equally as important, right?
Right.
I can't think of any other trilogy where someone has blown it so far out of the water that you're just talking about it on its own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that no one was weak around it.
Well, what I thought he also
there's an 11, but also everybody else is like a 9.
And what Nolan also did was that remember when we brought it up for the old ones, we should bring it up. Obviously, what we're talking about is that when you look at what we had for the first 4 movies and the 2 Burton, the 2 Schumachers, or that you went significantly more into the Adam West cartoon version. So to spin it on its head, to do a complete 180 and say, now we're going to say, what if Batman was realistic and you believe that it really could happen?
Yeah.
And you make it, and it's terrifying in that segment. My 10-year-old was watching a little bit of the beginning of Dark Knight last night, like a little bit. And she was fine, and then she went to bed, and then I got to certain parts. I'm like, oh, I'm glad she didn't watch this, because it's dark, and it teeters on PG-13 because of how intense it is.
That's why it's so funny when people are rebelling against Matt Reeves, the Batman being PG-13. I'm like, homeboy put a pencil through somebody's eye on camera.
Right.
Like, they didn't cut away. They
can't
showed
make it rated
right there.
R, though, guys. It's Batman.
we didn't fully see it, bro.
Like, come on, that's an R-rated,
but you knew it, though.
Exactly
I knew what happened.
But they also gutted
if my daughter,
Michael Jai White got face gutted on camera.
No,
that
he
one they cut
didn't.
away.
You didn't see that
But
either.
But you got it.
The knife in his mouth.
But that's way scarier.
So let me make the argument then. So if my daughter was watching that scene, she didn't, but if she was, she would know as a 10-year-old girl that a guy just got a pencil through his head.
Right.
If she was watching, she would know that a guy just got knifed and fell on the floor. So it didn't have to be shown in order for it to have an impact.
Of course.
And that's the whole point. The mental impact of that's why you get the ratings. The ratings are like, if it was a graphic, if he would have stuck the knife in the guy's face, like I watched The Thing recently, right? There's some brutal kills in that thing. It's rated R, and for a reason. You can make movies PG-13. Now, Deadpool wasn't just made rated R because of the violence.
Characters
it's the mouth, dude.
And the character has to be R-rated.
He's a mercenary.
Yes.
He does kill. And also, like, the sexualization of Deadpool is one of the things that separates him from so many other Marvel characters.
This movie doesn't.
It's all of it. It's the sexualization, the violence, and the language.
Right.
You only get so many F-bombs, and he drops
this movie doesn't need to
many.
Be. And this movie,
and when they did the PG-13 Deadpool, it felt neutered. It didn't feel like, I liked it. It was fun, but it was fun because it was a commentary on the fact that he had to be rated
It's not
R.
the essence of who the character was. And this is
I never saw it.
Like PG-13. What, Deadpool?
The Once Upon a Deadpool.
The
censored one.
Okay,
but the whole joke is the censoring.
Right.
So you can't do that.
Right. So, but the But anyway, the point is that Batman doesn't need to be rated R. It really doesn't. It's like you're getting a 3-hour movie.
And the best arguments I've heard is that the villains need to do such heinous things that it warrants Batman being so violent.
Right.
But you can do that like just off camera, like Joker does. You can make the villains violent and not actually show the blood. And I think it's very interesting how much bloodletting we want to see as a culture.
It's
like,
interesting.
It's interesting that we're like, oh, I want violence, but I got to see the blood myself. Like, that's a very strange
Batman,
thing.
though, I don't see a lot of complaints about it. I do have a question. Wayne Manor.
Yes.
Was burnt down to the ground.
Right.
It's back after what's about a year or so that it's been.
Well, they're mainly using the penthouse.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. They're still rebuilding. They're still rebuilding. So he worked that big ass warehouse at the docks for the Bat Cave, and then the penthouse that he's in to live in.
Yeah, because Alfred makes that joke like, I'm excited for us to rebuild so you can not sleep in the manor,
right,
instead of not sleeping in the penthouse.
Well, the bigger question is, who is going to be doing their lawn? And I'll tell you, it should be Sunday. Sunday should be doing the lawn at Wayne Manor. And I'll tell you exactly why. Spring is almost here, everybody. Spring is here, and we're so close to feeling that soft grass under our feet, but you got to get your lawn back. Thankfully, Sunday gets your lawn growing, and it helps to keep it healthy all season long. So I can tell you right now, being at my house and I'm looking at the lawn, and you got to worry about the chemicals, whether it's you got kids, you got dogs, and here's what traditional lawn care they do. They lays down 90 million pounds of pesticides each year. Sunday is very different. They're on a mission to change how people can care for their yards. So most of us right now, you don't really think about your lawns in the winter with all the storms going on, but honestly, it's the best time to prep for it. It's right now. You're probably thinking you have so much work to do in order to get it green and to get it healthy again, but this is the best part of it. Sunday takes all the work out of it for you. Sunday can help you grow a beautiful lawn without the guesswork or the nasty chemicals. All you have to do is visit getsunday.com, put in your address, and their lawn analysis tool does the rest. Then they use soil and climate data to create a personal nutrient plan that delivered to your door just when you need it. And best of all, this stuff really works. Sunday is offering our listeners 20% off. Full season plans start at just $129. You can get 20% off at the checkout when you go to getsunday.com/bigthing20. That is 20% off your custom plan at getsunday.com/bigthing20. Sending some to Bruce Wayne right now. So, you like that one?
I was like, why are we talking about the manor?
I was really just completely caught me up, and I almost went, oh, but you need a clean read,
Yep,
so I just
it is.
kept my mouth shut.
No,
but I looked at Coy, I just said,
I wish I knew.
That's how we felt. That's how it felt. Why did you bring up the manor? I think he's wrong.
Did you guys see? So we had a guy that used to, and he still does it. He does retro. I got a shout out of his channel. Maybe I'll just post it in the description. But he's been doing it since Collider Live.
Oh, dude, his montage.
So this guy did a full on montage.
It's like 4 minutes, dude.
It's like 4 minutes long of a bunch of different clips.
Movie
of people,
with I wish I knew.
Oh yes, he tagged us. I retweeted all of them, but I saw like about like a minute or two.
I'm going to put it in the description of this video. It's really, really good. Anyway, so
Obviously, I have that much time.
But we did say though, Coy, in the last episode that you could tell Heath Ledger even says it, right? He's like, we're going to be doing this dance for a long time.
Yeah, dude, that was so hard.
And they set it up because
he's the Joker.
Joker was going to come back.
For the third
Joker was going to come back in the third one.
I think Nolan might have made more of Joker.
You think so? Because Scarecrow comes back in the beginning of this. And I love that scene, man, when he's just like, that's not him. He's like, that's more like it. That's hilarious.
Because in 5 minutes, you establish a universe, which is something that Marvel's got a great MCU as far as everything feels like it could be shared, but they're really bad about not having villains pop up because they don't have a lot of support level villains.
Right.
If Crossbones popped up, that's what I mean. Like if Crossbones popped up in other movies, it would feel more connected. If you had a Rhino or Shocker level character that popped up in other movies and you didn't just kill him, then it would feel more like a universe. Whereas Scarecrow in one through line makes Gotham feel like they've got a villain problem because he's like this rat that keeps popping up. And he's so good.
And he comes back again.
And Cillian Murphy in one scene, you're like, this guy.
You don't like my drugs? Figure it out.
Right, figure it out.
That's not him.
And then the courtroom in the third movie where you escalate also. The Scarecrow's got an arc of escalation and madness.
Well, because you also never saw in Batman Begins, like what happened. We just rode off on the horse. And that was it. And so there was a lot of great things that they did, especially when they set him up. He gets captured again. He always kind of pops back up. But yeah, that scene with Heath Ledger at the end when he's just kind of dangling because you're like, well, if he
His
got
whole speech there is so
just
good.
like if he got out last time, why wouldn't he be able to get out again? And so they never really even
I want to use this soapbox. Let the record show, and it's awful, and I hate the internet, and it really was the first time I thought the internet was a force of negative, not good. Heath Ledger was filming a movie in London called The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which is incredible. You should watch it. And he was flying back to New York to visit his daughter, who was brand new, and him and Matilda were going through relationshipy stuff that I don't know about. But he was flying back and forth. He caught pneumonia. And Heath is someone that couldn't sleep. Heath's someone that has a lot of anxiety. Heath didn't like being in public because he was hounded constantly. Heath was on anxiety meds, sleep meds, and he was flying back and forth and caught pneumonia. He had doctors in Australia or London, I don't remember, and in New York. And they didn't communicate, and he was prescribed the exact amount of medication that was in his system. Heath didn't kill himself. Heath didn't OD. Heath didn't die because he played the Joker. Heath took medicine that he was prescribed, and because we have a drug problem and people being ashamed to talk about it, and because we had a communication problem with his doctors, Heath drowned in his own fluid in his sleep and never got to raise his daughter. Anyone that speaks ill of Heath Ledger and calls him a drug addict, anyone that has anything negative to say about that man and his incredible talent and his family can fuck off, and that's my one. That man is so talented, and it hurts me every time I see that shit. The Joker is a work of art, and Heath's one of the best actors we will ever have.
Wait, I'm sorry, the audio was off. Can you tell that again?
I wish I knew.
Oh, God. Oh, I would have if that had actually if I were you, Coy, I would have leapt across this goddamn table, bro.
He needs some milk.
To the point where I went from like about to like and I was like, no, I'm gonna let Coy go. Coy is on a roll. I'm gonna shut up and listen.
I don't get on one much, but like the Heath thing,
true.
like he means the world. Heath's the reason I became an actor and then became a host. Like without Heath Ledger, I wouldn't have gotten into entertainment, and without this movie, I don't think I would have moved to LA as quickly. And I don't think
you're a host.
Sometimes they let me talk for money, but yeah, I don't think without Heath Ledger and without The Dark Knight, because I moved to LA within a year of this coming out because of Heath passing, and every time I go to New York, my first stop is his apartment, and I pay respects every time. So that day I was late for pizza was because I was at his apartment on Broom Street. I just
thought you were just late because you just
I'm late because sometimes there's a reason.
Speaking of which, if we're staying on very important topics here, there's a new pizza place in Los Angeles that I just heard about.
What do we got?
I guess the Barstool does the pizza.
I saw this TikTok. Yeah, apparently it's incredible.
Apparently it's really good.
And their hours are bananas. They're like 4 hours a day.
They're only open 4 hours a day.
It's near like La Brea. It's in like the La Brea Tar Pits area.
Yeah, they're open from like 2 to 4:30, and then from like 5 to 7. Yeah. Like they're literally like, we're gonna tag out. We'll come back for dinner.
I'm excited. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. If we find good LA pizza, man, I need to go to New York less because that's a big reason.
There's only like 4 or 5 good places out here, but that's another conversation. All right,
pizza
so
talk.
We have what else?
With the rewatch guys.
What do we miss? What do we miss if anything? You know, we got the action inside of this thing, the way that it's shot, the writing is so good.
The new Batsuit bothered me less this time.
Music is phenomenal.
Dude, the Joker
is
score,
it just Zimmer?
Joker?
Is it just Zimmer? And because I know James Newton Howard was part of the first one.
I want to say it's just Zimmer.
I feel like it was just Zimmer.
The edge of the Joker score, the way he uses like the chords, the way it's like it gets under your skin. Yeah. Man, if you ever need like a power ballad to run to, that stuff will like get you.
Yeah. It's really
if you take that and some of those sex pills, fucking go in.
Is no pills?
That's your second. What are you me?
That's all. So Coy,
it's a powder.
So Coy, let me tell you about Joy Mud. It's a powder.
It's a powder that you can take on the treadmill while listening to the Joker ballad.
That's right.
Get you going.
That's right.
Oh my!
Just don't try to nail your treadmill.
That's what I was gonna say. Now I'm concerned, and you're just like, "Well, you're right, Rachel."
It's a whole lot. The whole definition why you want to choose her first.
Why do you think? What do you think Tom Cruise is fueled by, man? Those sprints are not adulterated.
Oh man, we're going somewhere.
So the music.
Why did Batman choose to get Rachel first? Well, let me tell you about Joy Mode.
Rachel!
Give the Joker some Joy Mode, and if you give the Joker some Joy Mode, he's gonna stop trying to kill people.
That's true. That's dope. He was also on Joy Mode at the time.
Here we go. And here we go.
Here we
All you need is a little push. That said, the music in this escalates the theme nicely, and the Joker theme is one of the best. The Batsuit bothered me less than it used to.
Yeah. They also got some modifications to it in this.
No, I like the Begin suit better.
Oh, okay.
This time,
you like the Begin suit better than this one.
Yeah.
I see.
So this time it was less, because I really enjoyed the the gauntlet use and like the tactical.
No, finish.
I like the tactical flaws, because they acknowledge the fact that he could get hurt in different ways, but he could move more.
He's still bruised up and stuff.
And this time I noticed more that they leaned into the fact that the suit was less powerful in that it was mobile, because it's kind of got that Spider-Man thing. The more mobility you have, the weaker you are.
So two things. One, I'm assuming it was just a buzzsaw. What was the thing that he had in his hand when he's on the van and he's like trying to cut it open?
Yeah, basically like a little tiny like can opener.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, but then the other thing is you were asking, is there anything we missed? I think the only major flaw personally with the film is Bale's Batman voice. It was not this bad.
Oh, it got way worse.
It got so much worse. And when I walked in on you watching the end of it, Christian, it's I don't know if it's because he's supposed to be out of breath.
I had my pants on, by the way.
He did have his pants on. That's true. He was it was weighted.
Thank God you got here not 10 minutes earlier.
Oh my God.
Rachel!
The screaming Rachel did it for you. But
he heard that outside. He waited. Actually, he gave you a minute.
I'm sorry, Winston, I have my pants off right now.
Frankly, guys, the Dark Knight was rising, and when the Dark Knight rises, you stay outside.
When the Dark Knight rises, you break your back.
That's right.
What will break first, your spirit or your body?
And as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to do my lawn with Sunday.
But
he was born in the darkness, molded by it.
That was the only problem, in my opinion, because it becomes glaringly like, oh, dude, you're taking me out. I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Someone didn't tell you you're doing too much. Because it was fine in Begins. He did not go over a cliff in Begins with that voice. Something happened in this film where he's just...
Maybe Nolan told him to do it more.
In Begins, there's a shot that he puts in the tech in his ear, but apparently there's a deleted scene where they had him put in something in the cowl for a voice modulator where it was going to be tech, and they cut that. So I'm wondering if in the first film they were like, well, we'll change it in post, and then he saw it.
I did love, by the way,
like, what if I do this?
Yeah, Winston brought it up before, like when the shock happens and the Joker beats the crap, but I liked.
So smart.
I love that idea because in the Burton ones, they keep trying to take his mask off and nobody does, and it's like there's a reason why you
even
can't.
Even Spider-Man, we talked about it. It was like, why does Norman Osborn just not unmask the guy?
Just take his mask off.
It makes it like Blade's sword, where you have to have the code and then cut your hand off.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's also very true to the Batman does that all the time. The Batmobile's booby trapped. His cowl is booby trapped. Like it's all. I love that they included that.
Yeah, me too.
If he's got the tech, he'd use it defensively too.
And Winston also mentioned before we were on air, but we were talking about the detective side of Batman and how much like it is the most clear. And he said he's even trying out like the gun on the wall to see which one is the
bullets
one.
On bricks.
Bullets but he's constantly, for people like we haven't seen the detective Batman. Are you not watching this
stuff
like
in the apartment? I really enjoyed the crime scene.
Totally
like, investigating
everything.
That's why this is gonna be a good 3-hour movie.
He keeps looking at stuff throughout this movie, and this movie's 2.5 hours, by the way. You're like, oh my God, it's 3 hours. It's only a half an hour. The new one's 3 hours. You're like, this one's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So it's really not that much.
And the next one's like 2:40. Like it's not like Batman.
Oh, you mean the rises? Right.
So it's not like Batman has been an hour and a half romp and they're doubling it. It's like Batman's kind of a long because it's a detective.
It's long as long as it plays.
I'll tell you why people are freaking out, myself included. It's not because you're not thinking about The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises. It's because there has been this weird trend to just make movies longer and longer and longer recently.
That's true.
So if you take it just individually of itself, we didn't blink at Dark Knight because that was rare. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to do a 240 to 3 hour movie.
Well, I think it's because it's TV. Because we're used to now we're in an age of binge culture where you watch 3 hours of 3 episodes and you're like,
that's right.
But you're home. You get up and go pee, you get a sandwich, and
that's the reason why people are good with that. Because
that's why actors are going to TV is because they want the time to flesh their characters out. Directors and actors, if we don't make these 3 hour movies, they might just go make TV shows.
I know, but that's why I don't want to. As Winston was saying, it's like we're gonna. How many bathroom trips are you going to take during the 3 hours?
I'm just worried for the exhibitors because if you look at the actual like runtime of the movie, you've got a 3 hour movie, you've got 20 minutes of trailers, you got 20 minutes to clean up after, and then you've got a 4 hour window. If you're only open for 8 hours, you play that movie twice a day. You've got to actually pay your ushers, your lighting, your concession, all that money if you're paying it twice a day.
Yeah, but I mean,
exhibitors got to eat.
Yeah, but look, remember, there's Spider-Man was what 230?
Yeah,
240.
I'm saying the only negative to movies getting longer is if they're all 2+.
Sure, but
then we have a consistent.
But what I'm saying,
it still made $1 billion.
It's still made almost $1 billion. It's like the number 3 big movie of all time.
Just past Avatar.
So it's not going to.
Did it?
Yep.
Did it?
Yes!
So it's not
Passed Avatar yesterday.
I'll bet. Hey, don't get too excited because I bet you.
They'll re-release Avatar.
100%.
But you can also re-release Spider-Man.
But I thought
re-release
Avatar was so Spider-Man's number
domestic,
one.
Domestic past.
You're talking domestic.
So it's number 6 worldwide. It's number 3 all-time domestic, which is still baller.
That begs
without a Chinese release, it's number 6.
So what is 1 and 2 domestically?
Force Awakens and Endgame.
Yeah. So by the way,
Force Awakens is number 1.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember that. But by the way, that also this movie, The Batman, is tracking to have even a bigger opening than Spider-Man.
Right. And it cost a third.
Right.
This movie cost the crafty budget.
So this is going to be very interesting to keep an eye on. But that's Dark Knight. We got one more movie that we're going to do.
Yes, we're 2 weeks from The Batman.
Yeah, and so by the way, and I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but myself and Winston and Coy, I think on the last episode, if you were watching it, we decided on the Patreon, we're doing exclusive watch-alongs. Every one of these, the Batman ones, the Spider-Man ones, Matrix, those are all on the public channel. Those will be Fridays. We're doing one exclusive a month, and this month we did The Thing. We're thinking for March we're going to do Mask of Phantasm. I've never seen it. These guys love it. When we'll do like an exclusive one for that one because a lot of people are like, why didn't you guys cover that? And the reason why we didn't is when we started this, we only had 7 weeks to do it. So we wanted to do the 4 live action Burton and Schumacher, and then the 3 Nolan leading into the Batman. We just thought that the Nolan movies looked so much like what the new Batman is. It could be very different. We don't know, but it just looks in tone inside the trailer.
And with Flashpoint, we have the Batfleck opportunity. So it's not like we're skipping.
And people are asking, so we're going to, and for like Doctor Strange, we're going to probably do Doctor Strange rewatch plus the What If episodes that are probably going to be relevant to it. Jurassic Park, I don't know.
And all the X-Men.
Yeah, we got tons, man. We got tons that we're gonna do. So we have a lot. So make sure on Fridays you're checking that out. And then the big thing in studio is gonna start coming back gradually. Obviously, it's come back with Rewatch, but it's gonna start coming back. Once I have a lot of my pre-tapes of people that I've talked to. I've had some great guests: Booker T, Dominic Monaghan, Bobby Moynihan, Frankie Kazarian is coming on. We have so many different people that came on. I just had Sam Roberts on, Danny Fernandez, Jessica Chobot, a lot of people. So please go and check those out. But we're going to be back in studio soon. Next week, we'll finish up Dark Knight Rises. And then we're going to do the same thing we did for Spider-Man. We'll do a full-on spoiler episode of Big Thing of the Batman with the 3 of us. But that's it, everybody. That's the show for Coy Jandreau, Winston A. Marshall. Thank you guys once again, and show a little bit of class. Will you subscribe and hit that notification button? And we'll see you next time.
I wish I knew.